Good evening. This meeting of the Baltimore County Agricultural Land Preservation Board is now in session. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by the county executive, confirmed by the county council.
Megan, your guys' sound is cutting in and out.
Any suggestions?
I think it just might be speaking clearly into the.
Speak louder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Additionally, we make recommendations to the county on agricultural zoning issues, other issues relating to agriculture, and on county agricultural easements. Would the board members please introduce themselves by name and farming affiliation? I'm Merriman. I grow corn and soybeans in northwestern Baltimore County.
Steve Meyer, Dairy AF Feeders, Whitehall, Maryland.
Scott Welsh, Nursery and Greenhouses, White Marsh, Maryland.
Holly Gilmore, Baltimore County, Equine.
Megan Benjamin, staff.
Joe Wiley, staff.
And David Bergenthal, staff.
And we have Jim Enzer and Erica Crow on as well from Soil Conservation District and Extension.
Okay, the first order of business will be the approval of the October 13th meeting minutes. Oh, had a chance to look those over. Any conditions or corrections?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sign. Okay, we accept the minutes that were written. Okay, the first order of is a mouth easement landowner request. Is Evelyn Cochran on Butler Road, Glendon. And we board review a letter of support for a stream restoration. And Joe has the background information on that.
Yeah, so Ecotone would like to come in and do a stream restoration on the stream that runs through Miss Cochran's property. David and I were just out there doing the inspection. Everything is good on the property. Since Ecotone does not want any kind of overlay easement, they are within their right to go and do this without coming to the board, but they would like to come before the board to kind of get a letter of support from the board. So it's a little hard to see on the screen here, but the stream, sorry, can't speak, is inching closer and closer to the house. Let me see if I can mark it real quick. And there we go, maybe. Hold on, I gotta get permission from David. David, there we go. So the stream actually kind of runs right down here. There. And of course, the house is right here. So what they want to do, they want to realign the stream. They want to kind of push it up into the field a little bit. When we were out there, I believe it was 2 cows, David, if I'm not mistaken, they had out there.
Yes. Yeah.
But, so that's basically what they want to do. We do have Erin here from Ecotone if you guys have questions. I see she's on. Let me unmute her. Erin?
Yes.
Hello. Yes. Did I get that correct?
Yes, that's my name, Erin.
Did I get the what I said? Everything was that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'm basically here in case you have any questions about specifics for the project. I've met with the landowner a few times, and she is very supportive of this project. She actually came to us with it with concerns. And we actually recently submitted this project for a CBT grant. We were trying to get your all's approval, but the November meeting had been canceled. So we would still obviously like your approval, considering the fact that she has the easement on the property.
Joe, this is John. Do they need a motion on that or just a letter of support? I mean, what do we need to do here?
I guess you guys would just, if you come to an agreement, yeah, then you don't need to actually quite make a motion, but
Okay.
to my knowledge, you would just agree and get a letter from you guys.
Okay, any comments from the board members or questions for for Evelyn?
We've done, the site inspection, you all have, Dave, you and Joe. So it verifies everything they're saying, I would assume, of course. I think, it sounds like it's getting a little dangerous because the watershed has moved closer to the residents. And, it wouldn't take much really to get worse. But anyway, with that in mind, I move that we approve the stream restoration on Mrs. Cochran's property from
Okay,
the McGill Run.
okay, all the board members in agreement of just writing a letter of support for the Cochran family to get this done?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Sound like a good idea to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, we don't need to vote on that, do we? Okay, who, that's something the office will do? Okay, the office will take care of writing that letter and we will send out a letter of support for the Cochran family.
Very good.
You all so much.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, can I go to the next one? Okay. The next one is from the H.B. Dunning family. It's a board review and approval for a family lot on a mouth easement. And Megan has the background information on this.
Sure. So this, like John said, is a mouth easement. The request is for a family lot. They are entitled to one family lot, and Carly Poe and her husband would be the ones that are utilizing this lot. They have provided two location options, option 1 and option 2. The board is asked to take a look and review and approve the family lot and the location. The mouth will allow 1 acre and up to 2 acres if it's necessary for well and septic. So the locations that they're blocked on the screen right now, but they're in your packet is option 1 and option 2. Option 1 is off of the existing access driveway coming from Gore Mill Road, and seems to be centered on this grove of trees, which is not obviously in their agricultural area. So the foundation's lot guideline, location policies, this would be fitting within those guidelines. Option 2 you see is connected to the road, slightly less desirable because it does include some of that active agricultural land. So and this has also been submitted to environmental impact review for their review, and they sent their approval of the location as well. So the size, like I mentioned, can be 1 acre and possibly up to 2. The drawings are slightly on the larger side, but if we can if the board has questions, and then we can talk with Carly. I think she's online about the location as well. Carly. Yes.
Questions or comments on the two options, which are, I mean, these
Right.
are legitimate lots that they signed up for when they took on the easement. And they're eligible for the A lot off the farm, just the one.
Carly, you are muted, so.
Yes, it's a family lot.
I'm having a hard time hearing Mr. Meyer.
Okay, I hadn't said anything.
Okay.
Got any comments on the two options here?
Well, our main comment, I guess, is we would prefer option one because it uses the driveway and it goes into the grove of trees, so it's not going into the fields. And we would prefer to do 2 acres versus the 1 acre, if possible.
Makes sense.
Is option one, the woods, is it approximately 2 acres?
It's actually a little less than 2 acres. It depends on how far you go into the driveway and how far down you go
I understand.
towards like the center. Like when you're looking down at the property, down towards the center of the property, like towards where the barn is, I guess, if you're looking at the property.
And so the family prefers option one.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I-
Okay.
Just my opinion, I would prefer option one also, but I need to hear from the rest of the board.
I agree with you, John. I think option one makes more sense. They kept as much tillable ground as they can. And
Yeah, I
then
agree.
just utilizing.
I'm sorry, can
Yeah.
you repeat that? I missed part of that.
Like I said, I agree with John Merriman. I say option one is preferable option.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion for the family lot for this Gunning family on 19821 Gore Mill Road.
I'll second.
Option one.
All those in favor of that motion?
I'll second it.
Saying aye.
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 Opposed?
And will that specify that it's about 2 acres?
So the MALF allows 1 acre and up to 2 if it's required for septic
Okay.
or other reasons. So the Ag Board has made their recommendation and now it will go to
Okay.
MALF for their final approval. So
It'll go to where? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time.
State Board, MALF, and they will make the final determination.
Okay.
So I'll follow up
you
with you
can-
about that.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Business is Kenneth and Carol Lentz, Rosemore Road. I request retroactive approval to permit non-conforming use of a cell tower lease, which was established prior to the foundation district easement. Joe, background information on this.
Yeah, so the cell tower has been in, I don't have my notes with me, but it was there prior to the easement. When it went under easement, apparently nobody realized it was there, the state, so they need to get special permission. I believe Mr. Lentz is looking to change from one carrier to another, and that's kind of what brought this up. So to do this, we would do it's roughly a 0.5 acre area. It's 0.5 with the little blue box and the access, which is an existing gravel driveway out to the road. Mr. Lentz wants to make it just slightly bigger to incorporate these stand of trees that surround it, as you can see. So we don't have a rough number what that is, but it would, it's going to definitely be underneath an acre of size.
Kind of a retroactive thing, approving the selling the lease that a part of an acre back to the state.
So what he would do, what he would pay back whatever the final acreage would be. I believe there is the rate in the notes. Again, I forgot them. I don't have them with me right now.
They're seeking a reimbursement of $1,500 per acre on a half acre.
Yes, there you go. So
Just for the acre they're gonna take back, or is that for the whole property?
it's just for whatever the final acreage is. So if it's comes out to, if it is just a half an acre, he'll only have to pay back $750.
I got you.
Lance is okay with that.
I'm sorry, John.
I think Mr. Lance is okay with that.
Yes,
Uh,
to my knowledge.
So all we need is a motion to approve a cell tower in retroactive, or how do we word the motion?
I believe the motion is for a special use area.
Okay, so we need a motion for a special use area on the Kenneth Lentz farm.
Yes, for David. I think is there a next slide? No. Okay.
It's the
Yeah. So
retroactive approval, special use
I'll
area.
make a motion,
yeah.
this is for the cell tower lot, 17318 Nacemoor Road. I move that we approve, the size of the lot for special use for the cell tower.
Okay, I need a second on that.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the motion is carried.
Briefly before we move on, I have a call-in with a 40812 number. Do we know if that's Brenda? She's on mute.
That is not Brenda.
Okay.
To my knowledge. We will see who it is.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
Who is this?
This is Ken Lentz. I think you just
There
did
we
my
go.
farm.
Did we get that all correct?
I believe so. Yeah. So the acreage is going to have to be determined, but it's going to be well under an acre. That's correct. And yeah, I think it's all correct. Absolutely. I tried to get onto the computer and make that thing work, and I got stumped.
Sorry about that. I saw you come in, and we could, we were in the middle. Just started the meeting, so I couldn't check out who you were. I should have done
Yeah.
that.
No worries.
In between
Yeah.
breaks, but
So I don't have anything to add. I think it's all correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lentz.
Thanks a lot. Good night.
Okay, and this one has been added since you got your minutes, but it's for the Ben Grubler. He is requesting a review for legitimacy of farm use of the property. And I don't know if you guys have the map in your packet, or we're going to put it up on the screen. So someone has to come on here and convince us that it's legitimately a farm.
So I had spoken with Mr. Stombler, and he submitted these materials for the board to review. And he is requesting review of the legitimacy of the farm use of the property. This is 2 parcels, 44 acres off of Old Court Road, primarily forested, as you can see, and with some open field areas as well. Joe and I went out to the site yesterday, and we have some photos to share. Mr. Stombler's letter, he describes his use of the property. He the letter there is on the screen. He has grown trees and shrubs for many years for the nursery trade. He has a local farmer who will be haying the fields on the property. And he grows produce, as he describes, for personal and shared use with his neighbors, and keeps chickens on the property as well.
He is online too, also.
Okay, just to share.
Meg, hey, I got a quick question. Is this Ben Stombler?
Yes.
All right, I got to recuse myself. He's a customer.
Okay.
So I'll just wait.
Okay. Just to fully disclose all the information that we have. So there is an open code enforcement complaint on the property regarding the operation of a landscaping business. So that is the information we have. And if we want to scroll through some of the photos that Joe and I saw out on the farm yesterday, and then can open up to the board, and Mr. Stombler is online for any questions.
You run a landscaping business off this property?
Hello? Hello?
Hear you.
Yes, that case has been closed. I basically retired from the landscape business at this point, and the inspector has closed that. There is not an open complaint now. So basically, I did landscaping for many years. Started off as a tree farm, and I would dig my own trees and plant them for people. And there are quite a lot of trees in the neighborhoods that are from my farm. And then over the years, I got away from tree farming. I'm starting to renovate the fields now where I did have nursery stock and it is overgrown. And that's it. I don't know what else to tell you.
So the code enforcement has been taken care of. There's no more,
Yes,
not hanging over your head anymore.
yes. No, that case is closed.
What is the use of, why then would you want to, what is your reason for wanting it to be legitimacy of a farm use of this property if it wasn't to satisfy the code enforcement?
John, real quick, he is through SStat assessed as agricultural, so we did forget to mention that.
It is assessed as agriculture.
Yes.
Yes, and for 41 years, that's what I've been doing here. And the reason I wanted to get this is because we had a neighbor war that started. There are 5 properties back here, 2 of which are mine. The 5th property at the end of the lane is owned by Alan Kratz. The rest of us have been here. I'm the new kid on the block at 41 years. His son took over the property at the end of the lane. It's a private lane, and he opened a campground without any kind of authority to do so, without permits, without proper zoning. So we could not reason with him, so we had to call the county. So of course he called the county on everybody else, and the neighbor wars started. And I just want to have it on record that I'm legitimately using my property for agriculture, which I have done for 41 years. Well, it's that simple.
Okay, comments, discussion from the board?
I think the use is appropriate. You know, if you're gonna make hay off the property, grow some produce, you know, that all fits the intent of the property anyway.
And it is zoned agriculture, correct?
Correct.
So you can't, I mean, there's no houses that can be built or anything on it.
I don't think any houses could be built here. I have been approached over the years a number of times by developers, and I've always told them get lost. I think that technically there could be one lot cut from each of these properties, but it's not feasible. It's not possible because of the access. It's a narrow private lane with 5 properties on it already, and the county will not allow any more properties, even though there's a possibility of cutting these 2 lots out. But it's like on one hand that it can be done because of the zoning. On the other hand, it cannot be done because of the limited access. And I have no intention of dividing lots out of here. Like I say, I've turned away a number of developers over the years.
And let's hear from the 4 board members here so we can get some kind of a consensus here.
Well, I think I don't have a problem with it. I think it's, like I said, it's appropriate use. He's been here 41 years, doing much of what he's still gonna be doing, just not as intensely. You know, he's leasing some of the land out for somebody, I guess, who makes hay on the property, or maybe even somebody who might be a grain farmer.
Okay, any other comments from any of the other board members?
I'll motion that we approve of the use of 44 acres for agricultural use, specifically making hay, raising produce, probably also still doing some nursery stock at the same time.
All right, you hear a second on that motion?
I can second.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Scott has recused him.
Okay.
The one who recused himself said he was a customer. I'm not, it's not connecting in my head.
I'm a supplier, Ben.
Steve, is that Steve speaking?
No, it's Scott
No.
Welsh.
Oh, Scott. Okay, from Maryland Flower. Okay, I got it. I'm a little slow sometimes because I'm 70, but I catch on eventually.
I knew you would. I didn't know you were coming to this.
Yep, and it turns out that the Dunnings that you spoke to earlier are old friends of mine for the last 50 years. So all kind of things coinciding here.
See you, Ben.
Thank you, Scott.
Good luck.
Just quickly to confirm on that,
Our next,
John, you voted in the affirmative on that, just because with the recusal, we need 3 votes. Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
thank you. Okay, that's all of the landowner requests. The next issue is the Baltimore County easement landowner request issues. A discussion about timeline and administration of county ag preservation program.
We can move that to the end. if you
Oh,
need,
okay.
and take the Lisa next.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So just
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing folks, so I think this is my turn. Maybe it's the new Wi-Fi, and I'm kind of handling the meeting, the PowerPoint here, so I'll do my best. We've talked about this in the last 3 meetings now, our efforts to update the Lisa we used this year for the mouth ranking. So I think the best way to do this will be to just quickly go remind everyone of what we've talked about in the past, have any comments that come across be addressed, and then I'll ask the board for a approval of this new version of the Lisa. As you can see on this version, as in the one in your packet, the old sections are in red outline or crossed out, and then the new additions, I'm realizing I should have put the new portions into some other text, but if anyone has any questions, I'll be sure to highlight them. So I'll just run through this quickly. First here we have our sections about soil conservation and water quality, and this generally does the same thing, doesn't really change the point assignments, just allowing for more of a clear scale, so really just clarifying things, and then separating out these different sections so it's easier on our end for counting. Go to the next slide. Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm shuffling different WebEx screens around here. Okay, so our next one, and I wanted to highlight this because it actually is a bit different based on our discussions at the last meeting. This one, we are swapping out some of the titles, just historic and scenic qualities, and then some of the suggestion or some of the direction that is made for people using this form. So very quickly, you can see we've once again broken down to a P4A and a P4B. And then the big thing to highlight here, that change I just referred to, I'm realizing that I think I somehow messed up these papers because this one on the right is not correct. And so that is a bit embarrassing on my part. I'll find it and highlight it when we get to it, but the point is that with the scenic qualities, we wanted to add waterways as well as roadways. So for those properties we have that are along scenic waterways, if someone's boating, we want to be able to consider that as well. Okay. So it seems like, as I mentioned, I kind of switched up some things here accidentally. So I'll just go now to the capital improvements portion. We talked about this pretty extensively last time as well. We wanted to be able to scale capital improvements rather than just have a categorization or point assignment. So with this one, instead of an average farm getting 6 and above average getting 10, we can have points in between. And then, of course, we switch the average farms from 6 to 5 points. And that's just going to help us when we see that variety of different types of properties and investment that owners have made. We can reward them fittingly. Let's see what I have on this next slide now that I've realized I made a mistake. Okay, so here at the top, you'll see the navigable waterways that I just mentioned, and then I'll switch down to these just last two just to finish out. So with road frontage, we just wanted to add the ability to give 0 points for no road frontage. Easy enough. We had a few properties this year that received 3 points, just even though they didn't have any road frontage, so we want to address that. And then one of the bigger changes we've made is development rights, switching again from the categorization to a more of an assignment based on the exact total. This concern was brought up really because of some properties we had with a very high amount of development rights ended up getting similar, not an excessive more points than ones with very low development rights. So this is just breaking that down a little more. So at this point, I can swap back and forth if anyone has any questions about any of these changes we've made. I think the whole board has had the opportunity to look at these before. So hopefully nothing here is a surprise. But if the board has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, and I might defer to Megan or Joe if need be.
Yeah, go over F5 one more time, just for me.
Yeah.
Improvements related to agricultural operations. Mr. Maximum of 10 points. Compared to other agricultural operations of its kind, is that? I mean, in other words, if it's just a barn sitting there, so we got to compare that piece of property with just a barn sitting there to other pieces of property that we've looked at that just has a barn sitting there. And then if it's a dairy farm, then you compare all the dairy farms you've looked at. So basically what you're saying on the last sentence there.
Yeah, more or less that language is a carryover from the old version of the Lisa. And so I think that is, if we were say this is a hay farm, and then so we should compare this to other hay farms, we shouldn't expect to see silos at an equestrian farm, something that similar.
But 10 points is the maximum you can get on F5.
Right.
Okay, that clears it up for me. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions on this?
No.
Seeing none, I would like to request a motion to approve from a board member in the current form.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve.
Second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor of taking and adopting the new Lisa evaluation form, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, carries.
Thank you all. Okay, and I'm going to go back. Megan, do we want to do the Baltimore County?
All right, I just add. Trying to. Oh. All right. So can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to give an update on some information about the County Ag program, give a report of where we're at with the cycle that we ran last year, and then get some input from the board on the cycle that we'll run next year. So for the 2020 cycle, we allowed applicants to apply both for the MALF program and the county program, essentially at the same time. The county program deadline was delayed a couple of months because we were updating the formula, if you recall. But overall, we had 13 applicants for the county program. And most of those, except the ones that were applying without density, they also applied for the MALF program at the same time. We decided in advance of the program that for those, that essentially we would hold the offers for the approved county farms until after the MALF offers came out. So MALF offers typically come out the following winter or spring. So we had applications due for the MALF program in April, the county program in September, and then we held everything until the MALF offers came out and landowners chose, found out if they were getting an offer from the state and chose if they would move forward with that. And 4 of our farms did get offers and went with MALF, and then that left us with 9 farms. The short summary is that 1 farm ended up dropping out, and then we were able to make offers to the remaining 8 farms that applied for the county program. And we, in total, allotted 2.4 million towards those 8 farms, 427 acres. So an average of 56.76 per acre. So that leaves us for the next fiscal year, 580,000 currently we'll have in the budget to run a cycle next spring. And that will be with FY23 dollars. It's, as I mentioned, one of the farms that we had made an offer on, they decided not to move forward after we extended the offer. And it looks like there's a potential of at least one of the others not following through, so that dollar amount may go up, but we know that we have $580,000 at this point. And then, of course, out of that, the same pot of money, we have our matching funds that we match to get the full potential matching funds from the state. We always dedicate 1.3 million of county funds towards the MALF program. So that comes out of the same pot of money. Get to that part later. So the part that, so any questions just on the status of those things, the budget and those. For the county program, we'll have 581,000 available for the county. Yep. And then also, of course, the 1.3 will go towards MALF. Yep. So wanted to talk a little bit about how we run the county program. So as I already mentioned, the last time we ran it, we had a time lag waiting for the MALF offers to come out. And our process is long, to be fair. to begin with, and adding on the wait time for the MALF offers to come out just makes it even longer. So I've been contemplating that a bit and talked with some other counties about how they run their programs that also have both county programs and the state programs they use. I talked with Frederick County and Hartford County specifically. And the long and the short of it is that, you know, there's some differences in their programs so that landowners might not be as likely to want to apply for both programs. They might steer one way or the other for whatever reason. But if they do have landowners that apply for both, they don't hold waiting for the state. They move forward, let the landowner make the decision, and you know, continue forward just as funds are available. And I think one of the reasons that we chose to do that was because we didn't want to lose out on any state dollars. However, if a landowner was on both lists and they chose to go with the county program and came off of the state program, we're able, currently how the state runs the program, to send 12 farms, and we only ever make it down a portion of the way on the list. So if one of those farms came off, we would just be able to pick up another one in theory on our list. So I don't think we're going to lose out on any funds in any way if we choose to do it this way, but I just wanted to get any thoughts or feedback that the board might have on that.
Don't have that option of two choices, do they? Or do they offer at the same time?
So John asked if other counties have the same option of two choices. So other counties have, you know, county programs that run in slightly different ways than ours. So Frederick County, like I said, there are differences in the program that some landowners might choose only to apply for the state or only to apply for the county for different reasons. So Frederick is on totally different cycles of how they do it, but they could apply for both, but the cycle timing is a little bit different. Hartford County, yes, they can apply for both, and you know, yeah. So so the other part of what I wanted to talk about is, so the county program, we're able to purchase easements on properties that do not have additional density that they're extinguishing through the easement, which is different than the state programs, which do require that you are extinguishing density with the easement. And the reason for that is that, you know, we are able to, we're guaranteeing the permanent protection of these acres, because even if there are no, by zoning, there are no development rights unless, you know, zoning can change essentially. So the easement is permanent, and it allows us to add those permanent protected acres towards the county's goal, which is currently to protect at least 80,000 acres. And it allows us to get those acres at a significantly discounted rate. But I wanted to talk with the board about those properties, two things. So one, there are provisions in the, I guess to say it basically, there are no additional criteria that a property has to meet. You know, they have to meet the same soils and adjacency to other properties to apply for the program, but there's no acreage limitation or any additional criteria that a property without density has to meet. And I wanted to see if the board's thoughts on you know, kind of adopting some additional criteria for properties that are applying without density. Do we want just any 20-acre property without density, or do we want to consider adding some additional criteria, whether it's just an acreage amount or anything in addition.
Be good to limit it to some kind of an acreage. So you're going to be 10 and 15 acre plots, instead of having to list this long, you can have to list this long.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no limit now. It's a 20 acre.
There's no limits associated with properties without density. So if they were adjacent to other protected lands and met all the other criteria.
Basically, we'll get that property at a discount because there is no density to donate. So
Right.
it adds to your acres pretty quick. I don't want to get it too complicated, but as long as it's a fill-in type of property, I think it doesn't matter to do acres, then I don't know. It's like that would just be for her or for us. So we're getting the benefit of the acres, fill-in properties.
Megan, would you be able to summarize what John just said? I think it cut out a little bit.
So John was saying that, he thought there was value in getting the acres at a significantly discounted rate. And, it might be different as long as it was filling in an area and not just, a standalone parcel somewhere.
That's from the board.
We couldn't really hear that either. I think John said just put it up to the board. So Ollie's got it.
Yeah. Does anyone else on the board have any other comments or thoughts on this point? Would you want to see a minimum acreage for properties without density, or do you think that's not necessary?
Well, we really don't have to select a property that has no density left. I know one of the years, there was a couple properties like that there where there was no density there anyway, or they would only be allowed one building lot on the property anyway, and already. So I don't think we should put a limitation. I don't think we need to put a minimum requirement for minimum acreage. We should keep it as flexible as possible when we're making the decisions after we evaluate.
Well, it does actually have to be, if it is not adjacent to anything, it does have to be. Did you get that? Did you hear what I said?
We haven't heard anything since Steve spoke. This is going to be a heck of a time for me taking minutes.
All right. Sorry, our technical abilities are really strained here. Okay. Perhaps, so I did want some input on one other point, but perhaps the best way to do this at this point might be for me to send out an email kind of summarizing this, and then you can get back to me with any thoughts that you have that way. Is that?
That would be easier to handle, at least from your end also.
Okay.
You're the one that's got to gather all the thoughts and present.
Okay.
And Megan, I'll just say I know this is a topic that we are also interested in hearing from our ex officio members about. So just throwing that out there.
Yes, I will send it out to everyone, and would like to get some feedback, and I can bring back a summary to the next meeting of what we've heard. I closed my notes, but just to, okay, I think we're done with that for now. Yeah. Yep, so we have, for this calendar year, we've been working on 25 easements. We have 4 mouth easements that have closed in the calendar year. We have 3 that are pending settlement. We're just watching for them in land records. We have 2 that Joe's worked on the baseline for. 1 is working through some, or 2 of them, they're both working through various issues until they are pending settlement. We have 8 mouth properties that got offers in the FY21 cycle. So those are moving towards the process of closing next year. And then we have our 8 county easements that are in processing as well. So it's been a good year. We've closed quite a few and have quite a few in process as well. Yeah. Yeah.
And through this process, we got to use our first drone, so we're trying to purchase a drone for future use.
Well, that's a good thing.
All right, and so we have our 2022 meeting dates. We included those in the packet. And our next meeting is January 12th. Yes, still virtual, but we can certainly take that up again and revisit when we want to come back in person.
All right.
Yeah.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Heard that.
I see.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, everyone. Happy holidays all.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.